Is that button? I think that's the button. We are alive. We are alive. The stream has begun. Welcome to the chat. We will soon begin to unravel. I'm telling you, it's like you have a piece of rolled paper, a piece of rolled newspaper. For what reason you'd have a piece of rolled newspaper, I don't know. And we are just unrolling it. And as we unroll, like secret stashes of money have been hidden between the paper, and they keep. Is Breen the villain or the victim in Half-Life 2's story? Tune in. Sign out to the Discord so people would know, people would come, people would figure out and change my mind. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. I don't know. We'll find out, right? That's the point of it all. The new unravels. If you've seen Breencast, you'd think, look at these teeth of Breen and his mouth. He's probably trying to sell me something. He's trying to sell me that it's good for me not to have a reproductive cycle. It's good for Earth not to have babies. And you'd be like, oh my God, what is he saying? He's insane. He go crazy. He go to the psych ward. He needs a doctor. But there is no doctor. Where is doctor? Everybody knows the history of Half-Life. How things became. Of course, you have to cue in people to what was actually happening. What happened? Who is Breen? Most of you probably know that. But the Bubman says that he put on the sample, the crystal. So the sample of crystal could be tested by the spectrometer or whatever. The name was of the giant machine, right? But why did he allow this to happen? Do you guys think that he knew that Wallace Breen knew, the administrator of Black Mesa, that he knew that this was going to happen, that they're going to cause a resonance cascade, and fourth, bring chaos to the whole world? If you put yourself in his shoes and think about it, why would you want to bring devastation to your whole damn planet? Because somebody told you, it's good for you. You trust me. I give you a four of money. I give you a four of power. But then again, did he get any power? What's his power? Let me put some notes because we're going to be frailing around. So Breen is the administrator of Black Mesa. We've never seen him. He knew that there was a chance for a rift between Zen and Earth, right? He didn't know that was going to be used for the Combine to invade Earth and take domination, right? He didn't know that they were going to dominate the whole planet, eradicate a giant quadrant of the human species. How would he know that? Who would tell him? Somebody who pointed out that it was G-Man. So Ling Yong Wan says that the G-Man did that, but nobody knew that the G-Man was not human, right? He was pretty much, G-Man was an abbreviation of the government man. He looked like a government man with his blue costume. I mean, not costume, suit, because costume is like a clown, right? Come on. You say G-Man is a clown, you probably have different perception of reality. It was a low chance, but they didn't know it would actually happen. Yeah, so it was pretty much, they were taking a risk by putting forth the crystal and causing this resonant cascade. It was worth the risk. Black Mesa, they already knew a lot about it. Not a lot, but they knew quite some information about Zen. They were already collecting crystals. They were already collecting wildlife. They were already sending expeditions there. So this low chance was believed to be very contained, right? Because they would believe that they can contain this because they don't really have the insight to Zen. They don't know about Big Baby Monster. They don't know about Nihilant. Why would they know about Nihilant? All they know is a very small information about Zen. They were pretty much in a forest before the kingdom. You think they had met? Maybe they'd met grunts, but ever so, they didn't really know about Nihilant. How would they know about it? For all they knew, they would cause a small rift between the worlds and cause some stupid animals to get in Black Mesa. And they would believe that they can contain it. And this small chance was worth the risk. That's what the administrator knew. You can't expect the animals to have weaponry, to be organized, to have the ability to actually cause a lot of damage. For all they knew, Zen was riddled with stupid monkeys, pretty much primates, animals, boo squids, and head crabs. What's a head crab and boo squid gonna do? We can easily eradicate that. But what about the vortigons? What about the I think they're genetically engineered. The grunts. What about the grunts? What about the flying fish things that actually teleport the soldiers? Did they know about there's like a giant factory? A giant factory for soldiers. Stupid animals will enter the facility in a contained way. All right? That's why there's turrets everywhere. Why do you think there are turrets everywhere in Black Mesa? It's in case there's a breach in the sterile environment that should be Black Mesa. By sterile, of course, there's cockroaches and all kinds of pigeons flying about. By that I mean if aliens were to invade the facility, they would be killed by all these automated weaponry systems. Yeah. So they believed, the Black Mesa Research Facility, especially the administrator with the information he had, is that if a resonance cascade were to happen, stupid animals would enter Black Mesa. The government man comes and says, "Hello, Mr. Breen. Today I will tell you why you should invest in the future of humanity. Our country believes that you can take a leap of faith and collect more crystals, because these crystals, they have unimaginable power, and that power is something we very much want. And we could potentially invest a lot of funding in the Black Mesa Research Facility." Breen gets an offer that they would get more funding if they can show results. If they can show results to the government that Black Mesa is worth the funding. Of course, this is not canon, but it's a very good recreational speculation. And then we get to the transition from Black Mesa to the 7-hour war to Earth as we know it. And by that timeline, in City 17, 7-hour war, Breen he negotiates. Breen negotiates surrender of Earth and the salvation of the human species. He saves it. And they most likely knew about the factory since you find some bodies there. No, Hem the Bumpman. Hem the Bumpman is talking about why we found HEV suits, dead people in the factory. It's because Black Mesa was sending people in Zen to try and stop this massive teleportation. They already had figured, since as the accident happened, that there was a big being that was teleporting soldiers into Black Mesa. So they were trying to stop it. So they were sending, post the accident, they were sending people to try and shut this down, to find the source, to unroot the corrupted tree, to cut the fungi grass. They were trying to eradicate the radiation that was leaking post the accident, not before. Of course, they could have sent people there and they died, but how they have the information that they're deaf, about their death, and the existence of the factory. The factory, in my opinion, was figured out post the accident, as they were sending people to figure out what the hell is going on. And all these sacrifices led to the ability of Gordon Freeman managing to finally go and find out the root cause and unroot it from the head. Yes, shoot the head with a pistol and stop everything from escalating further. In a way, Gordon Freeman didn't single-handedly defeat the Zen invasion. Gordon Freeman was the last Lego piece. He was the last jigsaw from this incredibly sophisticated puzzle. Yeah, Freeman was the last piece of the puzzle. He's not exactly the hero. He is, but all the sacrifices leading to the end were the supports. They were the pillars upon which Gordon Freeman stepped upon. With a little bit of help of the government man. Also, Mjolnir, hello to the stream. Hem the Buttman asks, what were they doing with the crystal? What did that analysis mean? Look, the crystals have power quality. They have power. energy. It's like uranium. It's like uranium probably, but different, maybe better, maybe even more concentrated in energetic qualities. Since if you think more and more about Zen, is that Nichilant, the big boss of Zen, used these crystals for power. His factories used the crystals for power. So maybe some crystals were different from other crystals, and this sample was a very nice and concentrated crystal of energy, since Nichilant and his factories, they collected the crystals. So probably they didn't want the trash crystals and they just left the trash crystals away. Nevertheless, the sample caused a cascade. The sample was pretty much the gateway to the accident. The head crab was a spy. This is the stream where Markovas goes crazy, says Georgi Mjolnir. I am not crazy. I am delving deep within the lore. I am delving deep in the possibilities, in why things happened, why things were never written, why Black Mesa is a Pandora's box. So scientists and security guards was definitely going to Zen before the accident. They had also testing facilities in opposing force, we see that. In Blue Shift, I think we see that. They were pretty much deeply invested into researching it. It wasn't, okay, I see crystal, and I'm gonna test the crystal just to see what happens. No, they were already doing that. Why do you think they had the anti-mass spectrometer? They were already in such deep damn testing. Yeah, this wasn't the first time. You think that they created this whole damn box of insulated walls and giant capacitors and incredible amounts of electrical consumption. That thing probably consumed more than a whole city. They had a whole bloody dam, which was their way of conjuring more and more damn energy for the whole facility. And the anti-mass spectrometer pretty much made the facility go insane. That thing was consuming so much damn power. A dam creating energy for a city couldn't sustain the anti-mass spectrometer, and everything was going off the rails. Not enough energy for the rest of the equipment. They were rerouting energy. And I doubt that was the first time. The Black Mesa is already kind of a trashy facility because everything is old, everything is breaking apart. They don't have time to put new equipment because that takes time on its own. There's no funding. Everybody's running wild. The administrator doesn't know how long they can sustain the damn facility before it gets closed or sold. The administrator is in a time constraint. He doesn't know if he's going to make the right choices. He needs to get things done. He needs final results. He has some kind of teleportation technology, but that's not practical. How is the government going to use their stupid portals, which require, you've seen them in Half-Life? It's like a box like on the floor, and that creates some magnetic energy and whatever the hell. It's limited. How are you going to use this for the public? How are you going to use this as a military perk? You can't use it. Aperture was way ahead. So Breen, this is about Breen. This isn't about the invasion. It's about Wallace Breen. Okay? So Wallace Breen is in time constraint. He understands that things are falling apart, that the Black Mesa Research Facility, sooner or later, is going to go bankrupt. Aperture Science is already ahead. He doesn't know what to do. So the best thing to do is to just risk it. There's been slow research here and there, but there is no time. Things are moving as fast as ever. Bottom line is, the government owns Black Mesa. And even if Breen says no, if he says yes, it doesn't matter what Breen says in the end. In the end, the damn government made him do it. But all we know is that G-Man isn't really part of the government, yet he had already infiltrated it. He was part of it. Wait. G-Man was part of the government already. And somehow he manipulated things of happening like he did in Half-Life 2. He just manipulated. He played the chess so well. He played it so well that he managed to persuade the government, to persuade Black Mesa, to send him in and tell him what to do. Yeah. Kiss me, Laser Cat. I'll kiss you later, all right? Promise on the Schrodinger's cat that I'll kiss you. It's gonna be Schrodinger kiss. It might happen, it might happen. We don't know. Until we open the box. Until we open the kiss. Until we drink some water. All right, drink some water. Black Mesa was already prepared for the worst, all right? This cleanup crew, as you mentioned, was already there in case the worst thing happened. I don't think they believed that there was going to be a whole blown invasion on the facility, all right? So already precautions were taken. They were taken, the precautions were ready to clean up the mess and continue forth the harvesting of crystals, to continue forth the invasion in Zen. Pretty much Black Mesa was invading Zen. It wasn't the other way around. Zen was defending itself from damn puny humans. But the reason Aperture failed, why they get bankrupt, is because Cave Isn't Cave Johnson like Steve Jobs? It pretty much is like that. Because Cave Jobs... Am I saying Steve Jobs and I say Cave Jones? Cave Johnson. Because Cave Johnson died. Steve Johnson. Nevertheless, this title is why Breen is the victim. This isn't about Aperture Science. Okay. The G-Man was being sent. Of course, G-Man manipulated himself into being sent to Black Mesa so he can negotiate expedited results. So G-Man, mostly it's not really G-Man. G-Man's employers get him to create the rift between Earth and Zen. Then G-Man pretty much G-Man manipulates the government into pressuring Black Mesa of getting results, all right? So Breen is pressured by the government, and it actually isn't the government, it's G-Man, and by G-Man, it's G-Man's employers. So if you see a pyramid, right? Black Mesa, government, G-Man, G-Man's employers, right? I don't think you see it. Yeah, it's a pyramid. The top is G-Man's employers, then it's G-Man, then it's the government, and then it's Black Mesa. And underneath it all, Breen is a victim in this case. He's been manipulated, he's been pressured, he's out of time and out of any kind of bloody damn control over his own damn facility. He can't just say, no, I don't want to do this because I don't see it as reasonable. And Magnuson says, goes crazy. What is he supposed to do? Veto the government? I don't think you're right. No, what is he supposed to go on a strike, on a hunger strike? What are they supposed to just block the dam and say, no more electricity? Nobody cares. The dam was made for the whole facility. It wasn't made for anybody else. How did Breen escape Black Mason? Asks Milner. Well, we don't really know. We don't really have information. I highly doubt that he knew this was going to happen. But neither did Kleiner. Neither did Magnuson. Neither did Barney. And all of them are alive, right? So they managed to escape. And if you're the administrator, you definitely have way more power to flee. You get your own private helicopter. You have your own private jet. You have your own security. I believe that he didn't know this was going to happen. So by whatever strike of luck, he managed to escape the facility. All right? He took a jeep, says Milner. He took a jeep. He took it. Rosenberg jeep. Rosenberg tried to escape, but he found that his jeep was missing. So Rosenberg had to steal Barney's jeep because Barney was Indian. But then, as Rosenberg was scared, Barney teleported himself next to the bloody jeep. And so Rosenberg had to say, oh, Cahoon, you finally did it. We were waiting for you all this time here. Oh, come in. Yeah, so he pretty much saved himself. He stole Barney's jeep, but then he said, oh, we were waiting for you. We knew that you were gonna come here. let's transition post the accident. Breen escapes. In a way, G-Man has chosen Breen. He sees Breen. It's like G-Man sees potential in Breen. So I wouldn't be surprised if G-Man manipulated events to get Breen to be the negotiator. Because Breen escapes, Black Mesa gets nuked, right? Black Mesa goes, boof. Breen escapes, and this rift that was caused by Zen and Earth was then used by the government to further try and take more crystals, try and explore their qualities, and potentially, USA dominates the world because Black Mesa was in New Mexico, and New Mexico is the state of the USA, and you know the drill. So they would, I believe that they started sending people there, more research teams, and trying to get to Zen. Of course, what happened there is pretty much a blank. Dark Mesa is now combined facility. Mjolnir, I don't think anybody wants to go to Dark Mesa. Why would anybody? A jail? No. You make a jail, Dark Mesa becomes the jail. It is the jail of the jail, right? So they invade Zen. Pretty much Nihilanth was the only barrier for the Combine. And Zen's acquisition to the Combine Empire. But, okay, so this is where I'd say Nihilanth was the victim. Nihilanth was the victim, not the villain. Oh, God. The world isn't black and white, chat. It's not. Because Black Mesa pretty much invaded Zen. Alright? Zen was invaded. They came in and they started taking the crystals. It was like, I'll come in your country and I'll start digging your mountains, taking your coal, taking your oil, taking your gold. What you gonna do about that? You're gonna retaliate. You're gonna allow me to take your oil or gold or my uranium or your uranium. You're gonna allow me to do that without me at least giving something in return, not just stealing and taking your forests and burning and taking your houses and your land? What you gonna do? You're gonna say, okay, I'm sorry, you can take over my country and do as you please. No. You're going to retaliate with whatever means you have. So Nihilanth was also a victim. He was the victim of all this masterful global manipulation. So we've pretty much established why Breen escaped, why Breen pretty much didn't know what the hell was going on, that Nihilanth was the only reason why the Combine weren't able to take over Zen. So now we have Zen, which is defenseless. We have Earth, which thinks they have control over the situations, but for all they know, they've created a doorway for the Combine to just enter Earth. Not only they had now control over Zen, not only the Combine had the entryway to Zen, they had a full entryway, which was created by Zen and this crystal, Black Mesa, to invade Earth. Hence, the 7 hour war. Before we proceed, for anybody who's watching, now is the time to join the Discord to get more updates, to get more of Breen Grub, to see more of Breen Grub and his adventures from here to beyond. There's a spider on my ceiling. Wick just realized that Half-Life 2 is in Eastern Europe. It's not a European country, it's Eastern Europe, which means, Bonklik says Bulgaria, Sofia. Yeah, it's pretty much in Bulgaria. I can see Combine every day here. Joke Kron chilling in Bulgaria as well. Yeah. Best place, cheap prices, no jobs. No. Cam the Buttman said, you live in Chernobyl, bro. What? Yes, Chernobyl has best electricity because you get it directly from the elephant's foot. The spider is still there. I keep getting fixated on it. We reached the 7-hour war. Breen escapes Black Mesa. Black Mesa is blown up. Government is like, oh, Zen is open. Crystal for free. So the US tries again to go back to Zen, right? And the other countries are like, what's going on? Nuclear hit? Are we gonna have war? And then suddenly, a wild Combine appears in Zen. And then wild Combine take over Zen. And then wild Combine teleports themselves all over Earth. Of course, they calculated all of it. They pretty much calculated everything they did because they teleported themselves to all critical military bases on the planet. In a way, Earth was unable to defend itself because the Combine potentially just teleported themselves to all nuclear launch sites. They prevented an Armageddon on Earth, and they pretty much destroyed more than, I don't know, 3/4 of the population. And here comes Breen, because I don't think really Breen saved humanity. All right, okay, hear me out. Breen didn't save humanity because the Combine wanted to. They wanted to just they first wanted to crush humanity, so then they can dominate them. So then they can, this is how they show you strength. You pretty much kill more than half the population, and then you tell them, you're either gonna go extinct, or you're gonna do as we say. And humans like, okay, no, please stop. Okay, what about my rent? You pay your rent, I don't give up. They subjugate the human race, and with more manipulation, I believe, from G-Man, Breen is pushed to the forefront because, in a way, he caused the resonance cascade. In a way, they see him as it's like in the Chernobyl accident, yeah, Dyatlov. I'm not sure if it's historically 100% accurate because things are a variable. But as we know in history, Dyatlov was the boss man in the Chernobyl reactor. And even if he might have not been in fault, he gives the orders. And even if he's being given orders, he has the ability to defy the orders, right? He has the ability to say, we're not going to go with the experiment. We're not going to cause the reactor to explode, potentially explode. And in the case of Breen, we're not going to take the risk of causing a resonance cascade between two places with different kind of species and power. Lasercat says Breen is a good guy because he made a deal with the Combine instead of killing everyone outright. Lasercat, as I said, I don't think he made any kind of deal. I think he was used as PR. He was the advertising campaign of why it's now better with the Combine. Oh, so many people died. It's not so bad because now there's more food for everybody. Now there's more space for everybody. Everybody gets free housing. Everybody gets free food, and there's peace and prosperity. And this is your administrator. This is the guy who saved you. He is the person responsible for your salvation. And you can trust him. Because he's the guy who made the bargain. He's the guy who made us rethink our values and stop this massacre. Yeah? Yeah? You see that? Why would the Combine care to make a bargain? What does humanity have to offer as, in a way, how are they any kind of danger to the Combine? It's a puny little pebble. It's like humans versus monkeys. Who do you think monkeys are going to win versus humans? No way. You're going to make a bargain with chimpanzees in a forest, or are you going to bulldozer that forest? Which people bloody do. I'm not saying it's a good thing. It's awful. But what are the chimps going to do? Fight with their fists against tractors and rifles? There is no bargain. It's mercy. The only thing left is mercy, compassion, and morality. Why would the Combine care about that? There are acquisitions in planets after planets. Yeah. Nice haircut, bro. Yeah. It's the best haircut. It's like, oh, strands of hair peeking out of every single place on my scalp. And it's like, I'm back in the 90s, or if I was back in 90s, then I have afro, and big afro, it's like a puffy hair. Oh. An afro is a natural growth of courage. Oh crap, I don't have an afro. I wanna have one, and then I can hide things in my hair. So when I get searched by Popo, I can, what am I even supposed to hide? I can hide banknotes and gold there in my hair. Nobody can steal it from me. Not even Popo can take my gold from my hair. I can put Australium in here, and Australium multiply. In Australium turn here into Australium, and then I make profit. Stonks. Oh my, Joker Clown, careful. Nightbot is very savage today. Why did Nightbot punish you? What you do? Whoever hasn't joined the Discord, do it right now. Nightbot has put on. So now we understand that Breen not only has been used, and used. Now he is pretty much... They've taken him and they've put him in a position of power. And it's like, remaining humans, you have to trust him. He saved you. What's Breen gonna do? What do you think Breen's gonna do? He's gonna say, oh, that's not true. Breen is now administrator of Earth. The Combine slowly acquisitions the whole planet, right? It has destroyed a big portion of the population. What is ever left is being relocated into cities, so that way they can further control them. The problem with Zen invasion on Earth initially is that wildlife managed to get into the sea. Those awful worms, the ichthyosaurs. Headcrabs managed to get into the world. I think both squids. It's like Zen wildlife managed to enter Earth. Meanwhile, the Combine was slowly exterminating. I believe they were exterminating animals. They started taking resources. The Combine was draining Earth's water. They were draining whatever, metals, gold, coal. They were just taking everything. Because the Combine's goal is to drain all the resources from a planet, yeah? And actually efficiently use them for themselves and their empire. Because they believe that if they just leave Earth as it is, the Combine, it's just a waste of energy. Well, what are you doing with that water? It keeps evaporating and being inefficiently used. What are you doing about that coal? Burning your wood to heat your home? What's wrong with you? You don't need to heat your home. You can use coal for way more efficient things. A stove in which you put wood and you light it up and on fire, and that creates carbon dioxide. And the Combine's like, yeah, it's like, it's like they're in a zoo. They come on Earth and it's like a zoo. Everybody's using these primitive techniques. It's laughable. To the Combine's eyes, Earth is a zoo. It's a circus. But the problem is the circus is costing the resources on Earth to get wasted. So they know what's best. And yet it's at the cost of humanity and the planet itself. Is that moral? Bloody hell no. Is it selfless? It's selfish as hell. You're gonna sacrifice a species for what? Just let them live their lives, right? No, the Combine is not gonna let you live your life. Because if you think about it, anything Breen would do against the Combine would get him killed. They would just replace him. Or worse, they will brainwash him. They will take his mind and make it their own. So Breen pretty much loses all kinds of identity if he puts his foot on the wrong step. The Citadel was a major point. It was like a centerpiece for the trains coming in, the trains coming out. I believe that the Citadel in a way was kind of the last acquisition, the last major asset for the Combine to fully acquisition the human race. It's like, bring all the humans with the trains to the Citadel. Bring them to Nova Prospect. Turn them into hybrids. Turn them into these disgusting, human machine. And acquisition all of the rest of humanity into the Combine Empire. Drain the rest of the resources. And then teleport all of them. Grab them, all of the acquisition soldiers and civilians, grab them and get the hell out. Yep, that's the overall plan. It's to take over every human, every resource, and go to the next planet. And then the humans, they're cannon fodder. They're just a tool. Earth's resources, it's just a tool. That's the overall plan. It's to bleed the Earth dry, bleed the human, take over the human race. Just take it. People are a resource. And go away. Add them to the Empire and keep conquering. That is why Eli is against it. Eli Vance. Magus Errans Malinior. Malitor. Have you already mentioned Kardashev's skill yet? And how anyone who thinks Breen is the villain likely just doesn't understand the power difference at play. Combine is at least a Type 2 civilization. The Kardashev scale is a method of measuring a civilization's level of technological advancement. Aha. Okay, let's see the Type 2. So yeah, the humans are Type 1. Planetary civilization. A Type 1 can use and store all of the energy available on the planet. The Combine can do this on more planets, yeah? Can use and control energy at the scale of its planetary system. We're monkeys. We're monkeys to the Combine. And we're a resource. They're going to take control over us. They're going to use us. And Breen doesn't have a choice. And then we come back to the accident at Black Mesa, where Breen, again, didn't have a choice. Overall, you can say, but did I say bad things, a Holocaust, and well, it's going to happen anyways, bruh. The Combine are going to kill all of humanity if they don't put their heads down and accept it. They're going to destroy the whole human race if the human race does not bow their heads down. How are you going to, you're just going to revolt against species of type 2 or even type 3? What are you going to do? But you're a monkey. You can't do anything about it. They've sent their lackeys. They sent cannon fodder to your Earth. They haven't sent the real big brutes to destroy. They could have just blown up the whole planet if they care. They can't blow the whole planet. They can just blow it up. They don't care. What are you going to do, Eli Vance? What are you going to do about that? You're going to revolt openly against them? Undermining everything that, for instance, Breen has tried to slowly put into balance, even if it's killing the human race? How do we know that Breen has secretly not been doing something about it? Huh? By just seeing him twice in his office? Any kind of insubordination Breen causes leads to the downgrade and potential destruction of the human race. It's so volatile. It's like he's trying to preserve this last remaining forests of monkey tribes in which he is a part of himself. Yeah? If you have forgotten, chat, join Discord now because Discord, yes, please. However you look at it, trains are a main mode of transportation. There's no cars. And all of it uses electricity. And yeah, they're relocating and they're gathering the remaining human population. Those who revolt are turned into stalkers. Others are pushed voluntarily to turn into soldiers, like the Metro cops. Slowly being degraded, their humanity is degraded away. It's like all Metro cops are volunteers. The soldiers are volunteers. They are people who have voluntarily taken on the acquisition of Combine technology into their brains and bodies. So the Combine does give the humans a choice, but it's not really a choice. And yet, it's better than being wiped out, right? Rebellion is punished. Servitude is rewarded. Both ways make you lose your humanity. The soldier becomes a soldier. They're brainwashed to serve the Combine. A rebel becomes a stalker. They're pretty much turned into an animal. Without any kind of... By the way, YouTube, this is fiction, so don't think... Don't take this out of context, YouTube. So now you have trains entering the Citadel. You have trains exiting the Citadel. And it's kind of scary, because you have also the reproductive field. That means humans cannot have children. Humanity is being starved off of its ability to reproduce, which is pretty much obvious what's going to happen. This is the end. Many people understand it. But also a big portion of them accept it, because what else is there? Breen also, you think Breen wants for this to happen? Look, listen, Breen always says we have to become more than what we are. We mustn't remain trilobites underneath a layer of broken plastic shards, forgotten by time. We must evolve. We must reach beyond what's there in the sky of stars. And yet, you see the chat, do you see the hypocrisy? The hypocrisy is that Dr. Wallace Breen never undertook any kind of Combine modification upon his body and upon his mind. He never changed. He was talking about people should change, people should voluntarily undergo changes in their body and mind. And yet he never did that himself. Why? Why would he never allow the Combine to do that? One could say, oh, Combine wouldn't let him do that because then humans will see him as a puppet. And if he keeps his humanity, if he keeps who he always was, then people would keep on trusting him. Fair point. And yet he speaks that people should accept moving forward. They should accept becoming something more than a monkey. And yet he never did it himself. That is hypocrisy. That's like in communism where they say it's ours for the people. Meanwhile, everybody's taking money and building their own stuff for them and not for the people. And that's why things didn't work out. It wasn't for us. It was for me. And for you, it was for you. And that hypocrisy broke it. It broke the camel's back. It broke the rail's support. It broke the citadel's spine. It made the ribs go. It made the chair fall off and Markovas smack his head on the floor and get concussion. Well, Kashmirs, they pretty much knew where they could find teleport. Sure, they were trying to make teleportation with the human's knowledge. But at the same time, they already were trying to figure out where this Borealis was. You think they hadn't found Aperture? You think they didn't know where Aperture was already? I mean, a lot of people already knew about Aperture. You think somebody wouldn't have snitched to the Combine about Aperture science? How are you going to move Aperture? All right, and how do you dig tunnels and then put the tunnels back so you can cover your trace? So what, the robots can turn broken rock into solid rock? How are you going to fake your trail by reconstructing the geological layers of Earth? It's possible, yet it's impractical as hell. No, they already have control over Aperture. Chat, Gladys used a very big protocol. Oh my god! Heyoji just sent $1 to chat. Thank you, Heyoji. Very big supporter of Inlet, helping make animations and ideas better as the world lies slowly at a nice pace. He's stuck. He doesn't have a choice. So the only thing to do, just keep going and try and minimize the damage the Combine can do to Earth. He's pretty much negotiating all the time. Breen is the negotiator, because sure, he's a puppet, but he tries to use reason, how to take over, how to help the Combine take over Earth with maximum efficiency. And with this maximum efficiency, he minimizes the damage that the Combine would have otherwise done if they were acting on their own accord, without any kind of counsel. He's the counselor. He's the negotiator. He actually minimizes the damage. And even if things are pretty bad, it's like no more children, people being controlled, police states, surveillance everywhere. Metro cops and soldiers have the ability to, it's like judgment waiver. There are no laws, there is no constitution. It's like, do as you're told. This cop told you to do this. It doesn't matter if it's breaking the law or there is no law. They make the law, they have the judgment waiver. Metro cops have the ability to do as they please. There is no court. Oh, a citizen was abused. What are they supposed to do? Dr. Breen, I was beaten up for just saying hello to Metro Cop, who was pretty... he didn't get his rations today, so he was angry and he beat the crap out of me. But he's gonna care, he can do whatever. And that's why it's actually promoting for you to become a Metro Cop, to become part of the Empire, to undergo the transition into machine. So then, how are you gonna be abused? You can't. Gordon Freeman enters Earth. G-Man's employers tell him, okay, G-Man, now we gotta destabilize the Combine Empire so we can make our moves. And that's how do you make your moves? Well, G-Man starts manipulating things. Sends Gordon Freeman. Gordon Freeman disrupts City 17, but potentially other places. People start talking about this legendary person. The legendary person that defeat the giant problem that was Zen. This disruption makes Breen unable to negotiate things that would minimize the damages caused on humanity. The damage is incredibly awful now, because he needs to tell the Combine that he can figure out and solve the problem. But things are spiraling out of control. Things are going to the toilet. Monkey grabs its feces and throws it at people. And so how is Breen supposed to contain this? Now the Combine are thinking, why do we need you? You are not able to solve any issues. Things are appearing to be very bad right now. What you doing about the problem? What you doing about it? Nothing. You're failing. We're taking control. Bring more people to the butchery. Turn them into stalkers. Turn them into soldiers. Consent? What is that? Metro cops need to take no rations for Metro cops unless they become soldiers. Unless they take over the modification of technology. No more. Waiting. But Breen keeps trying. But then, remember the quote, chat. My words sound hollow even to me. Yeah? It's like he says that. My words sound hollow even to me now. So, it's like he lost all kind of ability to influence the Combine. And so now things are even becoming worse with Gordon's actions. It's like, sure, Gordon comes in to try and save humanity. What is he saving? He's destroying it. Rebellion against the second stage of, what was second layer? Or rebellion against the second type 2 civilization? Where are you going to go with that? What are you going to reach with a type 2 civilization conflict? What if they just send a nuke over and blow the whole Earth, right? Nothing. It's game over. And Breen is pretty much he sees that things are kind of going to hell. He doesn't have any kind of control. He feels vulnerable because he's losing control of everything. He's in danger. The Combine at any moment can just say, you are obsolete. You are obsolete, Mr. Breen. Mr. Breen, we have saw your reports. And the numbers you're giving us, the rebellion, the loss of resources and humans on the streets. We are sorry to tell you that we are letting you go. But by letting you go, I mean, you have to come with us. And this, you see that grub? That grub over there. It's gonna look very nicely on you. Yes, yes, yes. We will, as his respect, we will put your name on one of the rings. Oh, in our language, though. But if you insist, we can put your name in your own monkey language. Yes, yes, yes. On one of those rings, yes, beneath the chin where sometimes pus dribbles, but don't worry, don't worry. That's what would have happened. Green Grub. They would have turned him into a Green Grub anyways if he had kept failing to do what he was negotiating. And then everything went to hell. And Breen, spoiler alert, whoever doesn't want to hear the spoiler, do this to your ears and start screaming. Of course, don't do that. And then Breen died. Potentially in further episodes, he was going to turn into Breen Grub. And that's why Breen was the victim and not the villain. He didn't have a choice. The only choice that he had was to either die or keep surviving. And he chose survival. And in his survival, he minimized the damages upon the human species. And I think he did give his best. Of course, this was the extent to how much he could minimize things. Because there was no other way. It was either the end of humanity or the end of humanity in a way that transcends humanity. And he chose to transcend humanity, even in an unmoral and in his position, kind of justified way. In the position of the people who were acquisitioned to the Combine, sure, it wasn't justified, but so chat, do you still think Breen is a villain? Do you still think that? And if you do, tell me why. But otherwise, we've summarized everything from beginning to the end. I kind of think that this is the case. But if you've got anything to bring up to say that no, Breen isn't the victim because reason, go ahead. Can you show it to the stream? Jeb coughed it. Jeb coughed the spider. What are you doing? Hey, don't release it in the room. What you doing, man? Hey, what you doing? Careful.
I'm hungry. What?
He says he's hungry.